So hi there, Guy from bugsandstuff and giantspiders.com, and welcome to this special online discussion in conjunction with the Discovery Museum. So, spiders, my favourite thing. Now, as you're probably aware, spiders get a bad press, especially at this time of year. It's autumn time here in the UK when we have a lot of spiders appear. There's often things in the media telling us how big and scary spiders are. And of course, we've got Halloween too, where spiders are often portrayed as dangerous, dark things which are to be feared. A lot of the displays that people put up around their houses at this time of year often feature spiders. But do they really deserve that bad reputation? Well, of course not. The aim of this talk is to dispel a few myths and to hopefully learn a few things about these amazing animals. Hopefully by the end of it, you'll appreciate them a bit more and you'll understand them a bit more. There's lots of things to learn about them, so let's get straight into it. So, how do spiders differ from insects? That's a really good question to start with. Spiders and insects are both similar in that they are both arthropods, which means they're animals with an exoskeleton. And they do have a lot in common with insects, but there's some important differences that separate them. Spiders are actually arachnids, a group that includes mites, ticks, scorpions and harvestmen. The most obvious feature that distinguishes arachnids from insects is the number of legs, of course. Arachnids have 8, while insects have 6. So how many kinds of spider are there? Well, there's around 46,000 species of spider currently known to science, but there's probably a lot more than that. Many species are still unknown, particularly tarantulas and in the tropics, and poor research means that a lot of these spiders are yet to be discovered. I mention tarantulas here as they're my favourite group of spiders, and I've been lucky enough to travel the world in search of them. There's around 900 species of tarantula currently described, but estimates suggest that there's many more waiting to be discovered. So far, I have been part of a team that has discovered at least 2 new species of tarantula. The first was in 2009 in Turkey, near the Syrian border, where we located and described this previously unknown species. Again, in 2011, we found this beautiful dark blue species in the highlands of Cambodia. Some of the most diverse and abundant spiders are the jumping spiders, wolf spiders and orb-web spiders. Again, I have encountered many of these on my travels, so let's take a closer look at some examples of each. Jumping spiders are some of the smallest spiders in the world, but what they lack in terms of size, they make up in terms of variety and colour. Jumping spiders are one of the few groups of spiders that have good eyesight, and their large eyes are a defining characteristic. These ambush predators don't spin webs to capture prey, but instead use their speed and stealth to leap upon their unsuspecting prey from afar. We have jumping spiders here in the UK that can often be seen climbing garden walls on sunny afternoons, and most are known as zebra spiders due to their coloration. The most striking of the jumping spiders have to be the Australian peacock spiders. Males use their brightly coloured abdomens during elaborate courtship displays, and having good eyesight, this is certainly not lost on the females. Wolf spiders are another great example of spiders with good eyesight. Again, they're ambush predators preferring to chase down their prey like a wolf rather than use a silken web. We have many species of wolf spider here in the UK that can often be seen running through our lawns during the summer months, but some tropical species grow much larger, such as this gorgeous specimen I filmed in Cyprus recently. Did you know that the original tarantula is in fact not a tarantula, but a wolf spider? The original tarantula comes from Italy and has the scientific name of Lycosa tarantula. And ever since its discovery, all large spiders from the tropics have been mistakenly called tarantulas. One of the more commonly seen spiders here in the UK, especially at this time of year, are the orb-web spiders or garden spiders. In evolutionary terms, these spiders are thought to be the most advanced, having adapted their use of silk to build complex webs to capture prey. My passion for spiders began at an early age when I first observed orb-web spiders in my family garden as a child. I was fascinated and spent many hours watching and feeding them when younger. If you travel further afield to the warmer parts of the world, orb-web spiders can get much larger and impressive. In the forested hillsides of India, a common sight high up in the trees are the giant webs of the golden orb weavers belonging to the genus Nephila. These webs are some of the largest in the world, with a diameter of up to 2 meters, and are capable of catching large prey such as birds. Although large and scary to some, like most spiders they're harmless to humans, easily handled and rarely bite. I often have these giant spiders free roaming here at Bugs and Stuff HQ and just let them build their webs where they like, making a fascinating display and an ideal natural pest control. Male golden orb web weavers are tiny in comparison to the females. Here we can see a large female in her web, filmed in Sri Lanka, and if you look closely you can just about make out the male clinging to her underside. Being small means he can roam her web in relative safety, as he's too small to be considered a meal. These spiders get the name golden orb weavers as their silk often has a golden colour to it. In 2017, this golden silk was formed from over 1 million spiders to make the world's rarest textile and probably the most expensive. This stunning piece of cloth is exhibited in the American Museum of Natural History, and thankfully no spiders were harmed during this process. So how many eyes do spiders have? That's a common question. Most spiders have 8 simple eyes, and a few spider families are characterized by having only 6 eyes. There's even cave-dwelling tarantulas out there which don't have any eyes whatsoever. Do spiders have claws? Yes. Spiders have claws at the end of each leg. This close-up shows the torso claws of a tarantula, and they can be retracted just like a cat's claws. Web-building spiders typically have 3 claws at the end of each leg and a small tuft of hairs that help the spider cling onto the silk. So what do spiders eat? All spiders are carnivorous. Most of them eat insects, and a few of the larger species are big enough to prey on small vertebrate animals such as lizards, mice and even birds. Most spiders inject digestive enzymes into their prey before they start to break it up, and the food is broken up with the powerful jaws before being sucked into the spider's stomach via its small mouth. Yep, spiders have a mouth and do not suck up food through their fangs, which is a common misconception. So do spiders bite? Well, yes. Spiders have a pair of jaws known as the chelicerae, and nearly all types of spider are venomous. Now, a lot of people make the mistake of calling them poisonous. A common question I often get is, are they poisonous, and if it bites me, will I die? Well, you have to know the difference between venom and poison. As a general rule, venom is injected through a pair of fangs or a sting, and poison is ingested. So basically, if something bites you and you die, it's deadly venomous, but if you bite something and you die, it's poisonous. Relatively few spiders bite people because they are not able to pierce the skin with their small fangs. Even those spiders known to bite people have venom harmless to humans also. Do all spiders spin webs? No. Nonetheless, spiders that don't spin webs to capture prey still produce silk. Spider silk is a complex protein that forms as a liquid in the silk glands and is squeezed out of small structures on the end of the abdomen called the spinnerets. When the liquid silk leaves the spinneret, it meets oxygen and hardens into silk. One type of silk used by most spiders is the type used for wrapping prey. Another type of silk is used to make the egg sac which hold the eggs, and yet another type is used as the sticky part of the web. So, another common question is, do tarantulas actually eat birds? I'm sure you've heard that term, bird-eating spider. Well, the short answer is yes, but let's delve a little deeper. The term bird-eating spider originates from 321 years ago in 1699, when a very famous German-born naturalist and scientific illustrator, Madame Merian, travelled to South America to undertake a 2-year survey of the plants and insects of Suriname. In 1705, she published her beautiful book, The Insects of Suriname, and within its pages there appeared this image of what appears to be a tarantula in a tree feeding on a small bird. This was the first record of such an occurrence, and ever since then, any large hairy tarantula from Central and South America has been called a bird-eating spider. It's what we call a common name. Tarantulas from around the world have a whole host of common names. Tarantulas from Africa are often called baboon spiders due to the fact that their toes resemble a baboon's finger, for example. Tarantulas from Southeast Asia are known as earth tigers due to their habit of living in deep burrows in the ground and having a striped abdomen. Tarantulas from Sri Lanka and India are known as ornamental tree spiders due to their ornate patterns. But do they actually eat birds? Well, let's take another look at Madame Merian's painting. The image shows a spider, probably a pink-toed tarantula as they are common in Suriname, feeding on a bird near an egg-filled nest. It is thought that these eggs and the bird being eaten are a species of hummingbird, which are also common in Suriname. Hummingbirds are one of the smallest kinds of birds, and pink-toed tarantulas can reach a leg span of around 6 inches or 15 centimetres. This clip is from a South American field trip where we found one of the biggest pink-toed tarantulas we've ever seen on any trip.
Fine, that's one.
Proper avicularia.
Kind of looks like a giantsspiders.com.
I knew I wore it for a reason.
Living in trees, they definitely would come across birds in their nests in their natural habitat, so it isn't too hard to believe that they would prey upon nesting birds and chicks. In over 300 years, the act of a tarantula actually eating a bird in this manner has never been accurately recorded. So, though we can say that tarantulas do eat birds, they're certainly not part of their main diet. Recently a video emerged which certainly looks like it confirms the case of spiders eating birds, but this could have easily been staged. Tarantulas will often take dead prey, so offering a pre-killed bird to a tarantula is an easy meal. Okay, let's get back to UK spiders. No doubt the one UK spider that causes the most media interest at this time of year has to be the good old house spider. I help a lot of people who are scared of spiders or arachnophobic, and 9 times out of 10 the house spider is the one that they're afraid of. Everyone has a different reason for being scared of spiders. It could be inherited from a parent or could relate back to a childhood memory of being deliberately scared by someone with a spider. Their large size, long legs, speed and habit of appearing out of nowhere are their most common traits responsible for people's fears. But like most spiders, and all spiders in the UK, they're harmless. So why do they appear in autumn then? Well, being a UK spider, their lifespan is relatively short. Tarantulas, for example, can live up to 30 years, but for the average UK house spider, their average lifespan is around 18 months. Most of the spiders seen running across our living room floors at this time of year are adult males. Before he matures, the adult male will be happily living out of sight in and around our home. But as the autumn comes around, he matures and leaves his home in search of a female to mate with. Males have much longer legs than the females, so can move faster, and their wandering brings them into contact with us. Another UK spider that regularly hits the headlines is the false widow. There are several so-called species of false widows here in the UK. They get that common name as they indeed are related to the more famous, or should I say infamous, black widow spiders of North America, and they have a bad reputation for a potentially fatal bite. The most talked about UK false widow is the noble false widow, which has been making its way further north in recent years. Noble false widows were first recorded in the UK in the 1870s and were likely stowaways on cargo ships from their native Madeira and the Canary Islands. Their webs are usually built off the ground to allow the spiders to hunt flying insects, and in homes they often prefer to live in kitchens and conservatories. Their webs are a tangle of threads, a characteristic of all false widow species. So, are they as dangerous as we're led to believe? Well, there are over 650 species of spider known to live in the UK, and only about 12 of these are recorded as species that have bitten people. Although, like most spiders, they do have a venomous bite, the venom is not particularly strong. Usually the only symptom is pain at the site, which lasts between 1 and 12 hours, and rarely for more than 24 hours. Often the symptoms are no worse than that of the pain of a bee sting or a wasp sting. Although it's most likely the UK's most venomous spider, and caution is advised, false widows are not the deadly spiders as they're sometimes made out to be. So, before we move on, I'd like to show you an amazing spider that we tracked down and filmed during our field trip to Malaysia in 2016. This one took a while to find due to its amazing camouflage technique. Look at this picture. Can you see it? Well, if you look closely, you can see a faint circular shape amongst the moss. Radiating out from this circle, you can just make out silken trip lines, which this particular spider uses to detect its prey. Let's trip those lines with a piece of grass and see what happens. There she is, the beautiful Malaysian trapdoor spider. These spiders never come out of their burrow, but instead build a perfectly camouflaged trapdoor at the entrance and at night sit just behind it, waiting for unsuspecting prey to stumble by. From the safety of her burrow, the spider keeps its toes in contact with the trip lines so she knows exactly where to strike before she opens the door. If we lift up the door, we can see inside.
It's there. Lift the door right up. Lift the door right up. So I'm just focusing on the...
Sometimes she doesn't want to be disturbed, so closes the door using her claws on her legs.
It's gone upside down. Cool.
These spiders are becoming increasingly rare due to over-collection for the pet trade and also habitat destruction. But luckily we managed to find quite a few burrows, including smaller juveniles, in this part of the forest, so it looks like they're doing okay, here at least. A truly amazing animal. Our next question is a good one. What is the largest spider in the world? Well, in terms of leg span and body mass, there's only one real giant, a species of South American tarantula, the Goliath bird-eating spider. With a leg span big enough to span a dinner plate and weighing up to 170 grams, it truly is a giant. They're quite common in captivity, and we always have at least one of these giants in our collection here at Bugs and Stuff HQ. In 2012, I travelled to Suriname to find and film this iconic spider in its natural habitat. Let's look at some of those images from that field trip. As research trips go, Suriname was a dream. South America has some stunning tarantulas, such as these pink-toed tarantulas and this aptly named skeleton tarantula, but finding the Goliath proved difficult. We spent 6 days scouring rainforest hillsides and only managed to find one big female, but she was gorgeous. These spiders live in deep burrows in the forest, and they often evict rodents to do so. Tarantulas from the Americas have itching hair which covers their abdomen, and they use this as their first line of defense. These hairs are kicked into the face of a predator and can cause a severe allergic reaction and are perfect for clearing out a rodent and taking over its home. Under the microscope, these hairs are heavily barbed, so they penetrate the skin easily and are difficult to remove. Tarantulas are another type of spider that often receive a bad press, but the Goliath, although a spider to be respected, like all spiders, it's certainly not one to be feared. So, what type of spiders are the most venomous? Well, that's a difficult question to answer accurately, but there are certainly a few contenders. Firstly, the widows, that includes the North American black widows and the well-known Australian redback. These spiders, belonging to the genus Lactrodectus, have potent venom containing a neurotoxin, which means bites of the females are actually dangerous. But despite their notoriety, widow bites rarely cause death or produce serious complications. In fact, deaths in healthy adults from Lactrodectus bites are exceedingly rare, with no recorded deaths despite nearly 2,000 bites yearly in North America. Next up, the Sydney funnel web spider, Atrax robustus. whose bite is capable of causing serious illness or even death in humans if left untreated. Unlike the widows, where the female has the dangerous venom, with the Sydney funnel web spider, it's the male that has the stronger venom. This is because, just like our house spiders, once he matures, the males leave the safety of their burrows and go in search of females. This makes them much more vulnerable to attack from predators, and they therefore require strong venom as a defence. A Sydney funnel web bite is regarded as a medical emergency, requiring immediate hospital treatment. Death has known to occur within as little as 15 minutes in very rare cases. Luckily, anti-venom is widely available where these spiders are found, and there's been no recorded deaths from a Sydney funnel web spider since 1981, after the anti-venom was developed. Another highly venomous spider next, the Brazilian wandering spider. These free-roaming spiders can be found throughout Central and South America and are well known for their serious bite. In densely populated areas, wandering spiders usually search for somewhere to hide during the daytime, leading them to hide in houses, clothes, cars, boots, boxes and log piles, where they may bite if accidentally disturbed. Again, bites are considered medically significant and require hospital treatment. Symptoms include pain at the site of the bite, difficulty in breathing, and may even result in death. Thankfully, deaths are rare, and with the correct treatment, most people survive and fully recover within a few days of being bitten. During our trip to Suriname, we did come across wandering spiders, and one that was just sitting on our accommodation wall. The spider showed no aggressive behaviour towards us, and was even happy for us to wrangle it for photos, proving that most spiders, even highly venomous ones, won't go out of their way to attack us. Okay, next question. Do female spiders kill their mates? This is another common one, and the answer is a definite yes, but it's not as common as you might think. The most obvious spider to talk about here is the black widow. She even gets that common name from the act of eating her mate. For male black widow spiders, mating is a dangerous affair. Being much smaller than their partners, the male black widow sometimes has difficulty in successfully mating with a female. Often his small size means that when mating, to prevent himself from falling off, he allows the female to grab him in her fangs in a fatal embrace. Other times, he will be captured as he tries to escape after a pairing, but most of the time he survives the encounter and can often be seen living quite happily alongside the female in her web, so it's definitely not the norm for the male to be killed. Tarantula females sometimes kill their mates too, but usually only after a successful pairing. It doesn't make sense for a female who wants to produce offspring to kill a male for no reason, but in that split second after mating, the male quickly becomes an ideal meal rather than an ideal mate. Let's look at this film of a mating pair of tarantulas. Here we can see the smaller male on the right, and by vibrating his body and legs, he signals his presence to the female. And here we can see her responding by drumming her legs in return. The couple come together to mate, and within seconds she attacks and bites him. Now it may look like she lured him in order to make him her next meal, but I can assure you that he did actually mate, if only for a split second. Spiders often don't know where their next meal is coming from, so once mated, the female is just taking advantage of the situation, as the large meal of a male is sometimes essential to go on to produce lots of healthy offspring. This leads to our next question. How many babies can a spider have? Well, the answer is as variable as the number of spiders themselves, but it ranges from in their tens to in their thousands. The giant of the spider world, the Goliath bird-eating spider, only lays around 70 eggs, but her eggs and offspring, often called spiderlings, are large, so it does make sense. On the other hand, another large tarantula, the salmon pink bird-eater, has tiny spiderlings, so it can often produce in excess of 2,000. Our UK spiders, such as the garden spider, will lay several egg sacs during their short lives, each containing up to 800 eggs at a time. The egg sacs are often well hidden in foliage around the spider's web, but once they hatch, the spiderlings gather in bundles for a day or two before dispersal. It's all about safety in numbers. Spiders, especially spiderlings, have numerous predators, so the more offspring the spiders can produce means that the likelihood of some of them reaching adulthood is increased. Another fascinating spider found in the UK is the lace-web spider, which is common around our homes. Once her spiderlings emerge from their egg sac, the female feeds them by regurgitating digested food from her mouth so they can eat in the early stages. Like most UK spiders, she only lives a short time, and often the process of producing eggs is an exhausting experience, meaning she soon dies after the spiderlings emerge. The spiderlings use this to their advantage and often consume their mother after her demise, as again she is a valuable source of food when they're so small. So how do spiders grow? Well, being invertebrates, all spiders have an external skeleton or exoskeleton. This means in order to grow, a spider must shed its skin. The average UK spider will molt 7 times from spiderling to adult, and when it does so, it leaves behind a perfect replica of itself in the form of a molt. Often people will say to me, "I love spiders. I've had the same one living in my shed for over 10 years, but in fact it's more likely that the spider is long gone and what the person sees is the spider's old molted skin." Tarantulas usually flip onto their backs when molting, and it can take several hours. This clip is a speeded up film of one of our tarantulas molting here at Bugs and Stuff HQ. Watch as the spider pushes its old skin off its body and emerges slightly larger and with bright colours. Molting is a vulnerable time for all spiders, and it will be several days before the spider is recovered enough to start feeding again. Okay, final question. Are spiders important? Spiders are 100% beneficial animals for us and the planet. Being part of the ecosystem, spiders prey upon vast numbers of insects, including many pest species. A recent estimate claims that across the world, spiders eat anything from 400 to 800 million tons of insects every single year. Imagine how many flies there would be on the planet without spiders. Mosquitoes are another great example too. Spreading malaria, mosquitoes are often labelled as the world's deadliest animal, and one of the main predators of mosquitoes? Spiders. Spiders are also an important part of the diet for other animals. Countless species of birds, lizards, frogs and toads, praying mantises, scorpions and many more animals, including us humans, have spiders in their diet. So without them, there'd be a huge gap in that food chain. And that brings us to the end of this particular talk. There's many more questions and I could talk about spiders forever, but sadly we've run out of time. Hopefully you've stuck around until the end and learned something along the way. Spiders shouldn't be the subject of fear, but should be viewed with fascination, and I hope I've gone some way in changing your mind about them if you're not too keen on them. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out my websites, bugsandstuff.com to find out about our live animal natural history workshops for schools and events, and of course giantspiders.com for everything tarantulas. Take care and stay safe.